Most, if not all of you, know about the 10 plagues of Egypt. You've probably heard about them in church, read about them in Exodus, or have seen a movie or two about them. But here's what you might not know. God wasn't just punishing Egypt. He was launching a full-blown divine takedown of the so-called gods they worshipped. One by one, plague by plague, he exposed their gods for what they were. Nothing. Reading the scriptures today, the plagues sound terrifying enough on their own, but they were even more horrific to the ancient Egyptians because each plague was a direct assault on their beliefs, their culture, and their gods. And each time, those gods were shown to be powerless. Hapi, for instance, was the god of the Nile. This was important because the Nile River was a lifeline to the Egyptian people. Hapi was said to bring the annual flooding of the Nile. He would show up, flood the banks, and leave behind fertile soil. Oh, and he also had female parts on his chest. Weird. Then God turned the Nile into blood. Fish died, the river stank, and the people could no longer drink from it. Hapi was helpless and not real. Heqet was a goddess of fertility. You know what? Let me just put an image of her up on the screen. Do you remember what the second plague was? Yep, frogs. And not just a few frogs. These frogs were everywhere. They were in ovens, in dishes, in beds, tangled up in people's hair. They were everywhere. The frogs were unbearable. Heqet was humiliated and not real. Geb was the god of the earth. He was credited with making the soil of the earth fertile. Apparently, Hapi wasn't enough. Hey! He was supposed to be super powerful, a king among the gods. Aaron, a mere human, struck the dust on the ground as he was instructed by God, and the dust of the earth became gnats, or lice, or mosquitoes? Apparently, the Hebrew word could have included any of those, but I digress. The point is that Geb was gutted and not real. Enter Khepri, god of creation and rebirth. He was all about the cycle of life, the order of it all. Once again, I'm going to put an image of this god up on the screen. He has a scarab as a face, a nasty black insect. When God sent great swarms of flies, a nasty black insect, they made chaos of this order. Khepri was kicked and not real. One of the most beloved goddesses was Hathor, goddess of motherhood. I mean, after all, mothers are great, right? Here's how she's depicted. Or sometimes like this. Anyway, God kills all the Egyptians' livestock, including the cattle. So Hathor was humbled and not real. Sekhmet's name literally meant she who is powerful. We'll see. She was known for her protection and therefore the goddess of both war and healing. The Egyptians believed she could cure any disease and prayed to her for healing often, but she could not protect nor heal the Egyptians from the boils that broke out on both man and beast. Sekhmet was silenced and not real. Nut was the sky goddess. She was often depicted as stretching across the sky in a protective dome. But it was God's domain, not hers, from which lightning flashed and hail like never seen before rained down on the land. Anyone, man or beast, left in the fields were struck down. Crops were destroyed and trees shattered. Newt was nullified and not real. Neper was the god of grains. Wheat and barley were important to feed the people. Much of it had been tattered by the hail, so what was left was all the Egyptians could count on for survival. Neper could do nothing about the locusts that came and devoured everything that the hail had left behind. Neper was nixed and not real. Ra is probably the best known Egyptian god today. He was the sun god and king of all the Egyptian gods. He was nowhere to be found, though, when God darkened the sky for 3 days. This was 3 days of utter darkness. No sun, no light, no sight, except for the Israelites. They could see just fine. Ra, the so-called mighty sun god, could do nothing. Ra was ruined. And, say it with me, not real. Pharaoh and his firstborn son were considered divine, living gods. But on the night of the 10th plague, their divine image was shattered. The firstborn of every Egyptian was struck down, including Pharaoh's son. It revealed that they were no match for the one true God. The Egyptians were emptied, and Pharaoh was no god. Knowing all of this makes the 10 plagues of Egypt so much more powerful and profound. God wasn't just trying to wear down the pharaohs so he would free his people. It was also about revealing himself, not just to Egypt, but to everyone. God wasn't just sending these plagues to make the people's lives more difficult until they finally gave up and let the slaves go. But he was also sending a message. That message was, I am God. And your false gods, they have no power here, or anywhere else for that matter. Thousands of years later, God would embarrass more false gods, the Aztec gods this time, through Mary. The Aztecs would see this and millions would convert to Catholicism. But to hear that story, you're going to have to click on this video. Yeah, your puny little gods are no match for the real one.